Hello and welcome back, or for those of you that have never seen me before, hello, I'm Jess and I'm the owner of So Much More, which is a small dressmaking fabric shop in Tavistock, Devon. Now, thank you so much for those of you that watched my video last week and for all of your well wishes, because I wasn't feeling very well at all. I had a cold. And yeah, you were all very kind, and you'll be pleased to know I am feeling much better this week. I still have a slight cold, but I feel like like the fog has cleared and I feel like I can actually think straight again. So yeah, this week I'm feeling much better and I'm much more able to just actually focus on what I want to do. Whereas last week it was a struggle. It really was a struggle. Anyway, this week's video, what I thought I would do, because we have had a delivery, which you can see here. So I'm going to be going through this with you guys and showing you what's inside. I mean, some of you might be very eagle-eyed, kind of like spot the difference between this and last week's video, and it is this background here is slightly different. I've had a bit of a rearrange and a reshuffle in the shop because of said delivery, and so yeah, I've got my little rosy cheeks woven labels stand in the corner. Obviously the Tilly and the Buttons patterns are still where they always are, but I've swapped what was over here. So what was over here was our embroidery kits, our cross stitch kits and our punch needle kits. I've moved those and I've replaced them with all of our scissors, because obviously Christmas is nearing, and scissors and like gift sets and that kind of thing I've had in. So I've moved them over here because I think you can see them a bit better when you walk into the shop. So we've got all the scissors, the scissor sets. I've also got all the tracing paper, pattern paper, bias bindings, and all of that goodness is now here. So it looks a little bit different in today's setup behind me, but I actually really like it. I think it looks quite cool. And where I've moved the craft kits I was just talking about, I've swapped those over with where the scissors used to be, and actually I think it looks much better. I'll put a picture up on the screen so you can see kind of what it looks like now, and I do think this works a bit better. So anyway, without further ado, let's open this box and go through it, shall we? So first things first, we have got interfacing. Now I know it's probably a bit boring, but it's one of them things that are a necessity. So this is the medium, I believe. Yeah, the ultra soft medium iron-on interfacing. And it really is a medium. This is the one that I would recommend for most projects. It's not too heavy. You can see it has got like a bit of movement. It's not super rigid, but also it's not too light where it's not going to make a difference, if you know what I mean. This is, yeah, one of them ones that really most projects, this is the perfect weight. But that's obviously in white, but I also now have it in black. So exactly the same, the medium weight. And I can't remember if I just said this or not. These are iron-on. I don't stock the sew-in ones. These are, yeah, iron-on interfacing. You can kind of see the glue texture there. So yeah, but this is the medium weight, but also now in black. So that's exciting, because I don't think we did the black one before. We've had the black in the heavy and the light, but we've never had the black in the medium. So yeah, we've now got the black in the medium, and the white is back in stock in the medium. We've also had a little selection of Prym Love's haberdashery arrive. So first of all, we have got the Prym Love pliers. Now I've got them in turquoise and I've got them in pink, so you can choose which colour you want. Now these are $18.99, so they're not the cheapest thing in the world, but if you are someone that is regularly attaching colour snap fasteners or eyelets, this is an absolute game changer, and also very good Christmas gift suggestion. So bear that in mind if you do a lot of that type of sewing. So basically you get obviously the pliers. They're really quite weighty, so they're not going to break. They don't feel rubbishy. They are a really good, strong quality plier set. And then you get the little tool set in there with it. So those can make holes of, I think it's 3 and 4 mil. Don't fully quote me on that. It will say on the website. I can't actually remember. But yeah, you get the set so that you can attach the colour snaps, which are the standard size, which is the 12.4 mil, I think. Probably should have done some proper research before I started this video, shouldn't I? But I'm sure that's right. The 12.4 is the kind of standard size. That's just over a centimetre, isn't it? So that's just kind of the standard size snaps. This comes with the all the fastenings. So you pop those into the pliers, put the snaps in, pull them together, and it's attached. It honestly is that simple. So yeah, like I said, we've got them in turquoise and we've got them in pink. Then another Prym Love little goodie that I've had in is this. Now I feel like this is just like iconic, isn't it? So I remember seeing these on the Sewing Bee years and years ago. That was the first place I saw them and I thought, oh, that's cool. So do you remember when you were like a kid or younger and you got these snap bracelets where you'd like go like that and it would just snap around your wrist? Basically, that's what this is. So it's kind of nostalgic anyway for me. And then it's got this magnetic dish thing on it. So basically, you go like that, snap it onto your wrist whilst you're sewing, and then you can put your pins on this on your wrist as you're going along. There's a picture on the back in case my explanation was rubbish. But yeah, I just think it's quite cool. And again, a very good gift slash stocking filler. And then the final Prym Love little goodies we've got, again, magnetic pin cushion basically. So it's quite a chunky dish. It's this really pretty turquoise blue and white polka dot spot. You get all these pins on it. So these are I don't know if they're glass headed pins. They look like they are. You get a set of them on here, and yeah, a magnetic pin cushion. So basically your pins aren't going to be like falling all over the place, going all over the floor. They are just going to attach to this and you can throw them down with not too much accuracy and the magnet's going to pull them to them. So yeah, no more pins in the carpet and then you standing in them. So I think that's quite a handy little gadget. Sticking with the pin theme, we've also had a little selection of new pins, and these are just so cute. So these are the button head pins. So they're nice long pins. They are 46mm long, so they are quite nice and long. How cool are these? The ends of them, instead of those like the pearl head pins, you've got these flat button style heads. I think they're so cute. So they come in these like pastel-y colours. So I don't know if you can really see. You've got lilac, pale blue, pale green, pale yellow, really pretty pastel colours, and they are £3.50. Also had some extra long glass head pins. So I like glass head pins because rather than having plastic head pins, which is kind of the most common, plastic melts, glass doesn't. So if you accidentally iron over these, which I have been known to do, these won't melt. The heads of these won't melt, so I love them, but they are extra long. So yeah, really nice long, you can see there how long that pin is, but with bright yellow heads that are going to stand out as well. And then the final ones we've had in are the easy grip pins. So hopefully you can see the heads of them there. They're more like a teardrop shape rather than the round pearl head, and they're much easier to grab onto if you've got any sort of sensory or like mobility issues with your fingertips. Then these are much easier to grab onto than the traditional pearl headed pins. And then I've got 3 very handy little gadgets which have arrived. So we have stocked these before, but they are now back in stock. So I want to show you them because I think they're quite cool and you might not have seen them before. So this is the expandable sewing gauge. So hopefully you can see that there. Can you see we've got the markings on them with the actual measurements? I don't know if that's going to show up on camera there. Basically this expands and I think it's really useful for, you know, when you're trying to mark where you want your buttons to go. Basically when you open this up, each of these is evenly spaced, which if I turn this round you can see means you can then mark. Obviously you can measure how far apart these are and then you can mark where you want your buttons to go and you know that it's going to be correct. Because I don't know about you, but when I try and mark buttons evenly, there's always a couple that are slightly rogue and they're not quite lining up how I thought they would. So this is a really handy little tool. You can obviously use it not just for buttons as well, so anything where you need to measure a distance. So if you are into quilting, this would be really handy. You can measure the distance between your lines, and yeah, as you open this up, it expands evenly between each thing. I don't know how else to describe it, but hopefully that makes sense. Then the next little handy tool we've had in is the bulky seam aid. Now this is really good if you're going through or you're sewing quite thick fabric, which to be honest this time of year you probably are, with like sweatshirtings and things like that. And if your machine is struggling a bit with the heaviness, you might find this really useful. You basically place it under your foot of your sewing machine, so hopefully you can see that there, and it basically helps when you're starting the seam. You know, when you start a seam and it's too thick and your machine like clogs up and the foot won't move, this helps guide it because it's kind of lifting the foot so that the thickness of the fabric isn't getting jammed underneath. It's, yeah, a very handy tool. It's not very expensive, it's only £3.99. So yeah, very useful little gadget, that one. And then the final one I'm sure you've seen before, but I'm going to show you again anyway because I just think they're quite handy. So that's the magnetic seam guide. So this, it's magnetic, you put this onto the metal plate of your machine, you can move it along to work out what seam allowance you want, and then basically you run your fabric down the edge of this and it means that you've always going to have the exact seam allowance that you want. So yeah, again, very handy tool, not very expensive, only £3.50. And then the final bits of haberdashery that have arrived that I want to show you are the scissor sets that we've had. So we have now got the new and improved Fiskars scissors. So these ones here are the 21cm universal scissors. Now these are really good fabric scissors. These are actually the ones that I use in the shop, and I use them every day and they've not gone blunt. They're just a very good quality. They can cut all types of fabric, all type of thickness of fabrics, and obviously I use them a lot in here, and yeah, they're still great. So they are reasonably expensive. They're not super cheap. So these ones are £23.50, but honestly they are worth it. Just if you get these, don't use them on paper. Do not use them on paper. They are fabric scissors only, because you will blunt them if you use them on paper. But yeah, they're very good quality. They now come in this really nice box as well, which I think makes a really nice gift. I've also had in the smaller pair. Now these are 13 centimeters. They're called needlework scissors. Now I actually have these personally. I have them at home. Got them in pink, but I love them because they're so sharp. They're better than, you know, like the really small little embroidery scissors that you can get. In fact, I've got some. Let me show you what I mean. So you get these, you know, like just the very small embroidery scissors, which are great for like cutting threads and things like that. But I personally find that they do kind of blunt a bit quick, and the actual blade on them is quite short. These I much prefer for cutting threads. I use them for, but for cutting like notches in my patterns, because I've found when I use these, sometimes they don't actually cut the notches. They kind of go a bit blunt, and they don't yeah, they don't give like a nice sharp crisp cut into the notch, whereas these, they do, because they're Fiskars and so they're really high quality. Yeah, I absolutely love these. So they're much smaller. Let me show you again side by side. So these are the big fabric scissors, and then these are the smaller needlework scissors. They look very cute together, don't they? It's like mummy and baby scissors. Then the other ones I've got to show you are actual gift sets. So these are the Millwood gift sets. So this is obviously the rainbow one, which I think is a really nice colour. These I think are 21 centimetres. No, 20 centimetres. Sorry, that 1 centimetre makes all the difference. So very similar size to the Fiskars ones, but again, Millwood is a very good brand. So it's going to be a high quality blade, but in this one you also get the small embroidery scissors as part of the set. So this set here, sorry, I'm just checking the price, is £21.50. And then also got another Millwood set. Now these scissors are bigger. Let me show you side by side so you can see. These ones are much bigger, much longer blade. Let me see what they are. 21.5. Then you also get the matching embroidery scissors, but you also in this get a little set of pearl-headed pins and a thimble, but all in this really beautiful rose gold colour. So again, perfect Christmas presents if you are in the market for that kind of thing. Right, so that is everything that has arrived in that haberdashery order. So I've shown you all the little new gadgets and bits that we've had in. So I hope you like them. Let me know what your favourite gadget is, what your favourite tool is in your sewing room. I'd love to know, because I like all the gadgets. I'm a sucker for a gadget, whether I'd use it or not, doesn't matter. I'm a sucker for a gadget. So yeah, let me know your personal favourites. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in next week's video. Bye.